Get ready for action because we are diving straight into the NBA drama. We start with the San Antonio Spurs facing a major playoff hurdle. Experts are questioning the team's inexperience as they battle through the postseason. We look at how Chris Mannix believes the Spurs can overcome this challenge, especially with Victor Wembanyama as a cornerstone, and what it takes to reach the finals.
Tired of dropping your phone or struggling to hold it with one hand? The PopSocket's Pop Grip gives you a secure grip, works as a phone stand, and even lets you swap the top for a fresh new look. Simple, useful, and perfect for everyday phone use. Click the link in the comments to grab yours on Amazon.
Next up, we look at the immediate fallout after the San Antonio Spurs suffered a shocking Game 1 loss against the Minnesota Timberwolves. We break down the performance issues, specifically the poor shooting from Victor Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox, and the concerns surrounding the team's crunch time offense moving into the series. The drama continues as we check in on Minnesota Timberwolves star Anthony Edwards. We get the latest injury update, learning how his miraculous return to the lineup in Game 1 has shifted the momentum, and what the betting odds suggest for his role in Game 2. Finally, we look at the Spurs community as they handle the spotlight. We see Julian Champagny and Jordan McLaughlin out shopping before Game 1, showing poise and grace amidst the playoff excitement. Don't miss the rest of the story. Tune in now for all the updates. The San Antonio Spurs are facing a significant hurdle in the NBA playoffs, with concerns centering on the team's inexperience, particularly in high-pressure situations. Analysts suggest that a lack of playoff experience is a major factor that could lead to an early exit, as it is rare for such a young team to reach the NBA Finals in its first deep playoff run. Chris Mannix, a senior writer for Sports Illustrated covering the NBA, outlined a formula for reaching and winning the finals, citing examples like the Denver Nuggets and Boston Celtics. He drew a parallel between the current NBA champions and the Oklahoma City Thunder, noting that while they reached the second round, a lack of experienced stars hampered their success until a year later. However, Mannix remains optimistic about the Spurs' potential, pointing to center Victor Wembanyama as a key factor capable of compensating for the team's inexperience. Although the entire Spurs roster has played around 150 to 160 playoff games, and power forward Harrison Barnes accounts for 71, Mannix believes Wembanyama's unique talent provides a pathway for the team to succeed. He expressed confidence that the Spurs could experience a long stretch of playoff success, positioning Wembanyama as a cornerstone alongside players like Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox, and Dylan Harper. Mannix concluded with a strong prediction, stating, "I would put my money on San Antonio winning a championship in the next 3 years." Looking ahead to Game 2 against the Minnesota Timberwolves, Mannix anticipates that Wembanyama and the team will manage to overcome the nerves and inexperience displayed in Game 1, where Timberwolves star Anthony Edwards returned after an injury. Despite the Timberwolves winning Game 1, 104-102, to secure a one-game series lead, Mannix believes the Spurs possess the talent advantage. Generally speaking, when you have the best player on the floor, that team wins the series more often than not, and Victor Wembanyama is the best player on the floor by a decent margin. But again, experience is the intangible in all of this. Game 2 is scheduled for Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. at the Frost Bank Center and will be broadcast on ESPN and available on streaming platforms. The San Antonio Spurs are showing signs of increased concern following a disappointing 104-102 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 1 of their second-round playoff series. The defeat highlighted significant struggles in key areas, particularly the shooting performance of team stars Victor Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox. The duo combined for a poor shooting night, going 10-31 from the field, with 0 three-point attempts resulting in makes. Although the Timberwolves' defense played a role, the performance level from the Spurs' top players is deemed unsustainable for the remainder of the series. While Wembanyama provided defensive stability, recording an impressive 12 blocks, concerns persist regarding the Spurs' clutch time offense. The team reportedly went stagnant late in Game 1, though a final surge provided a narrow opportunity to win. This marks the second consecutive loss in the two down-to-the-wire games played so far in the postseason, raising questions about the team's composure. Further compounding the situation are roster concerns. The absence of players like Io Dawsonmu and Dante DiVincenzo, coupled with limited output from Anthony Edwards, weighs on the team's prospects. Additionally, the loss of home court advantage adds another layer of pressure. Experts note that the quality of the opponent has noticeably increased in this series, a transition that may take time to adapt to. Despite these setbacks, analysts suggest the Spurs should not panic, pointing to their previous success in the series despite losing home court advantage early on. Noi Dung Kai Tight. The Minnesota Timberwolves star Anthony Edwards has made a remarkable return to action, playing in Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals against the San Antonio Spurs despite an injury history. Edwards emerged from a hyperextension and a bone bruise in his knee, coming off the bench and playing over 25 minutes, including 10 minutes in the fourth quarter, where he scored 11 of his 18 points. The Timberwolves have officially listed Edwards as questionable again for Game 2 on Wednesday night, alongside Io Dawsonmu. /N/N despite the lingering injury concerns, betting odds suggest Edwards is likely to return to the lineup for Game 2. The Timberwolves were initially 13.5-point underdogs in Game 1, but shifted to 9.5-point dogs once Edwards was confirmed available. DraftKings has set the Timberwolves as 9.5-point underdogs on the road for Game 2 as they aim to build a 2-0 series lead. /N/N Edwards' recovery has been progressing well. Head coach Chris Finch indicated that his left knee came through Game 1 well to this point, and Edwards is scheduled for light work and treatment later that day in San Antonio. There is no definitive word on whether his minutes will exceed the 25-minute range in Game 2. /N in Game 1, Edwards demonstrated strong offensive output, shooting 8 for 13 from the field and 2 for 3 from beyond the arc for 18 points in 15 of playing time. Given his career playoff averages of 26 points per game, Edwards is considered a significant asset if he can re-enter the starting lineup. Analysts are hedging bets, acknowledging a potential minutes restriction for Game 2, but leaning toward him seeing increased playing time after a setback-free Game 1. His previous 55-point performance against the Spurs also highlights his postseason capability. /N. San Antonio Spurs players were spotted engaging in casual activities while preparing for the second round of the playoffs. Following a recent victory against the Portland Trail Blazers, players Julian Champagny and Jordan McLaughlin were seen shopping in town prior to Game 1. Champagny, a sharp shooter who shot over 60% from beyond the arc in the first round, was seen joining the fans celebrating the win. McLaughlin was reportedly seen browsing antiques, while Champagny was spotted shopping at Sephora and taking photos. The presence of the players in public drew attention, marking a significant moment for the Spurs as they navigate the increased visibility of the postseason. Observers noted the team's handling of the fame with poise and grace. The players were also reportedly taking advantage of the time to complete Mother's Day shopping before traveling to Minneapolis for the weekend. This public appearance has heightened the focus on the Spurs as they advance in the playoffs.